Hello and welcome to another College TF review. Today we will be taking a look at DW DW-E12 and DW-E13 Blue Thunder and Sky Glider. Have a quick look at the box. Great art Dr. Wu puts on. Very G1 inspired looks from both Blue Thunder, aka Thundercracker, and on the other side here we have Sky Glider, aka Powerglide. Nice shot of them on the back, and again, 5 centimeter line. These guys are very tiny, highly detailed, amazingly well done. But before we get to them, we as always, get 2 sets of instructions along with 2 collector's cards. We can see nice art of both figures in each card, and on the back we get pictures of the actual toys that are included in their alt modes and a few stats. Very nice. Now let's have a look at the figures themselves. So here is Thundercracker. And if you haven't seen my review yet on Starscream, Dr. Wu Starscream, or Skywarp, please have a look. This guy copies the exact same mold from Starscream. They all share same features and functionality. The only difference being, I'm pretty sure, subtle expression change here with Thundercracker. They'll have a slightly different mouth sculpt, which is incredible attention to detail by Dr. Wu. And I mean, yeah, just taking a look at the detail here, we can see even like the molded in intake warning details, along with fantastic paint applications throughout. Very nice blue molded plastic, capturing his G1 aesthetic perfectly. In terms of articulation, just like with Starscream and Skywarp, we have rotation here at the head. He can look left to right, but he can't look up and down because it's just a pin joint. Then we have ball joint at the upper of the shoulder here, and we have full range of motion there, and you can kick back because the wings do move in and out, again for those more dynamic poses. And then we have a ball joint here at the elbow for full range of motion. Of course, sideways motion is a bit limited by the gun, but you can always move the gun and it does detach. So nice feature to have. Makes him definitely more durable. Then no kind of waist rotation or ab crunch, but we do get a ball joint here at the waist for the legs. He can kick back very little and forward a decent degree, but out to the side is perfect, almost perfect 180 there. And then we get a perfect 90 at the knee, which I think compensates for the limited range of motion up at the upper thigh. And then in terms of the feet, we just get a bit of movement here at the toes, and that is just due to transformation. But you sure can exploit it to make him stand in some iconic poses, recreate something from the original cartoon. Let's bring in some size comparisons here for Dr. Wu Thundercracker. So in comparison to a Hasbro product, here is of course Kingdom Core Class Starscream. And this guy actually does have a few more points of articulation than Kingdom Core Class Starscream, just like all of Dr. Wu's Seeker figures. I think they do a much better job of capturing that G1 aesthetic overall and are incredible, copying very similar engineering from the Hasbro products. And then for our contemporary comparison, here is Dr. Wu's Optimus Prime. Again, I've done a review on him too, please check it out. And I think they scale perfectly, just like with Starscream and Skywarp, and they both are, the coloring is fantastic. We'll quickly get into transformation here. Again, I've already showcased this in my other reviews, but can never transform too many times. So to start, just want to collapse the toes at the bottom here, combine the legs together, and straighten everything out. Then we want to turn to the back and lift up this nose cone so it's kind of flush with the back of his head. And then I like to put this flap down because it allows the wings to collapse in a little bit more, which will be useful in a minute here, because now we want to separate the chest on each side, very much like those Hasbro's Kingdom Core, Starscream, and Skywarp. Except on this guy, what I really like is how Dr. Wu is actually able to make this a separate part that actually rotates in and out, that is actually the jet mode cockpit. So now we're just going to take this whole backpack and rotate it all around. And then before we snap anything else in place, I like to rotate the cockpit and nose cone through the center. And this does both, well, creates the front of the plane, of course, and then also helps conceal his head. And now we actually can align the back, his legs, and they just tab in there very securely. We can flip this top panel down, and then of course bring in the chests, snap them in place on the bottom, and then the hands, just the bottom of the forearm tabs into a tab on the wing. Do that on each side. Align up his null rays or guns, and then last step is just to flip out the horizontal stabilizers from the tails, and there we have Thundercracker in his F-15 inspired jet mode. And again, just like with Starscream and Skywarp, I think this plays the part perfectly. We even have the extra very metallic paint application in back towards the engines, then the striping detail on the wings, the red and white stripes, orange cockpit. I think he cleans up very nicely, very sleek jet mode, just bringing in Skywarp here, because I have him transformed in jet mode, Kingdom Core Skywarp. One, you can see the incredible size difference between these two. And then I think also the Dr. Wu is just a much sleeker overall design, mimicking a real F-15 much more accurately. So there is Thundercracker. Now bringing in Dr. Wu's Powerglide. I've always been a big fan of Powerglide. I thought his character was great, and I especially liked his alt mode. And I think the way the original toy transformed was kind of clever. Now that being said, that does mean he has a fairly limited articulation, which we'll take a look at in a minute, but first, take a look at those paint applications, which are not as numerous on this guy as with some of Dr. Wu's other figures, but still very well done. The white face, blue eyes, and blue belt. And then, yes, just like Thundercracker and Optimus Prime, he has the same fist. So thus far, if you see my other video with Blaster and Skywarp 2-pack, you'll also notice that Blaster actually has, oh sorry, Sea Spray. It was Sea Spray and Starscream. If you take a look at that video, you'll notice that Sea Spray actually has a hole in his hand here. Just kind of interesting, but all these other figures share that same fist mold. And the molded in detail on him is fantastic throughout. Now going to articulation, again, it's a little bit more limited, given Powerglide's character, so we get nothing at the head here, just because that is that forms the front of the plane and is the cockpit, which I think could have still been something. Could probably put a rotation joint in there, but regardless, here is the shoulder joint. Again, just like with the Seekers, a full range of motion. It's a ball joint, and in the elbow, we just get a pretty good bend angle. That is largely due to transformation. No ball joint, but it's an elbow, so what else do you need? Again, nothing at the wrists. It's typical with these guys because they're so tiny. No form of waist rotation. We get ball joints at the upper thigh here, which allow him to kick back pretty good and kick forward almost perfectly too. We can go out, do just about a full split there at the side, impairs his movement just a little bit. Then the knees, we get ball joints, so very good range of motion there, though not quite 90 on the kickback. And then we have ball joints at the toes, so lots of versatility there. And a lot of the ball joints on this guy are included just for transformation purposes. It simplifies the number of joints involved. And now my one complaint, it's pretty minor, throwback mode, is that there is no tab on the back for these tail sections to stay in place. So they do kind of flip around, but he is really tiny, so it's not a big deal, especially given how good he looks for such a little figure. Now I don't have a Legend scale Powerglide here for comparison, but I can bring in I'll just bring in Kingdom Starscream again, just for another jet comparison with a Hasbro product, and yes, he is very, very tiny. And then bring in a few other Dr. Wu products. Again, here is Prime, you can see his video. And here is Sea Spray. Again, he came with a 2-pack for Starscream. I've also done a video on him, and you can see he has little slots in his fists. He actually uses different fists, whereas all these guys use the same fist type. I think they all scale perfectly and look just like the G1 show. Now onto transformation. This guy is, of course, similar to the original toy, but still much more complex, as is typical Dr. Wu. So I like to start with the arms. This is where the elbow joint comes in. There's just a tab on the bottom of the arm that goes into a slot on the bottom of the wing. Just do that on both sides. Lines up very easily. Now I like to come down to the feet, and we want to rotate the feet just straight down so that they are straight with the sides like that. And then we want to rotate all that around. So all I did was rotate the shin around once so that these parts are, the feet are now, the top of the feet's now facing the outside, and then we just bring these up from the side. They were collapsed back, but now they just come straight up, and then we can just bring the feet together. There's a few tabs there that lock everything into place, and we actually can secure it again here with this back cover. And that just comes down and kind of has like a puzzle piece style tab mechanism and really secures everything in back. Then we can flip out the tails from the engines to complete the back of the jet mode. And last but not least, we want to untab the wings from his sides and just pull those down like that. And now we have Powerglide in his A10-ish inspired jet mode. And I think looks awesome. Again, Dr. Wu, very high quality figures, ABS plastic with pinned on joints and screws throughout, which is fantastic to see on these figures. It makes them very durable, very posable, and very playable. Now, of course, my only complaints with this guy in jet mode are the fact you can see his face, but that is a carryover from the G1 design. So that is what it is. And the only other thing is that there is no tab or anything locking these wings in place, so they do move side to side. But again, that was true on the G1 toy as well. So having a miniature version of the G1 toy, which was already essentially a MicroMaster Transformer, is pretty incredible to accomplish here from Dr. Wu. And again, same paint applications as in robot mode, no difference. He has his little gun there on the top, front of the jet, and then the engine detail is great. Pretty simplistic overall alt mode, but I think it looks awesome, and I really do love the look of Powerglide. I've always been a fan of the A10, and his alt mode does a great job pulling that off. It's a great representation. And here is back in comparison. There is Thundercracker and Powerglide, Dr. Wu's 2-pack. This is a fantastic set, and I believe it is still available online from many online Transformers retailers, so I highly recommend these figures. Definitely go pick them up, especially since there aren't that many Powerglide figures in Legend scale. He's an excellent reproduction and wonderful 2-pack to pick up for sure. If you like this video, please be sure to like below and subscribe, and follow my channel for more updates. See you later. Thanks.